2020 will bring stricter Euro 5 emissions laws into place for all new motorcycles. So this year we might see manufacturers adapting their lineups in preparation. One keenly rumoured example of this is the Honda Africa Twin, which has been the subject of speculation for a few months now, with an expected capacity increase to 1080cc. Honda have denied that a new Africa Twin is in the works, but there have been multiple leaks of speculations coming from supposedly reliable sources within Asia, and the level of detail has become so specific that it seems almost certain that we can expect an announcement this year. So I've scoured the internet for every single detail and compiled them all into this easy to digest video. The headline change is that the Africa Twin's capacity will increase from 998 to 1080 cc's as a means of producing similar power but within the stricter Euro 5 emissions requirements. However, other sources speculate that it could also be a response to the market. The leaked specs anticipate that peak power will increase from the 95 horses of the current model to 101 horsepower. There are a whole raft of smaller capacity, slightly lighter middleweight adventure bikes putting out 95 horsepower as well, such as the new F80 GS from BMW, the KTM 790 Adventure and the Triumph Tiger 800. So a bump in capacity and power might help to put a bit of a margin between the Africa Twin and its rivals. The specs also claim that peak power will occur at the same 7,500 revs as the current model, with a peak torque of 79 pounds-feet or 107 Nm being produced at 6,000 revs. That's about 10% more torque than the current Africa Twin and approximately 20% more than the rival bikes we've just mentioned. It's also expected that the new Africa Twin will incorporate some form of variable valve timing. This allows manufacturers to keep fuel consumption and emissions down at lower revs, but maximize power once you wind the throttle on. BMW released their shift cam technology on the new 1250 Boxer Twin being used in the 2019 GS and RT, as well as the new S1000RR. This system slides the camshaft over onto more aggressively profiled cams as the revs build. Honda have used variable valve timing in the past, such as the VTEC system on the VFR. This, however, operated differently to shift cam in that it would use only one intake and exhaust valve per cylinder up until 7,000 revs, where two of each came into play. But the VTEC VFR had a bit of a reputation for a kick in power when you crossed 7,000 revs, which made it a bit of a handful for some riders. RiderPart.com reported earlier this year that Honda filed a patent for a new variable valve timing system that used all valves at all times, but actually varied the lift of the valves, which could give a smoother transition. So perhaps we can expect to see this new system on the 2020 Africa Twin. Cycle World claimed that, like the existing range, there will be 4 models offered by Honda: a base Africa Twin, an Adventure Sport model, and a DCT or dual clutch transmission version of each. For the uninitiated, DCT, as the name suggests, uses 2 clutches to essentially give you an automatic gearbox. Honda are expected to improve upon the present DCT, although there are few details of this change. Motorcycle News list a few hopes for the next-gen DCT though, including better pickup from a standstill as it can currently be quite aggressive, smoother transitions under load, and a better manual mode. According to them, the current system works well for easy touring, but needs some improvement when you start to push it. A larger fuel tank is rumoured for all models, but some reports state that the base bike will increase from 18.8 litres to somewhere near 20, whereas others claim that both models will feature the 24-litre tank from the Adventure Sport. If this is the case, it'll add to the wet weight of the bikes. The current model is listed at 232 kilos, so the new base bike would be 237, and the Adventure Sport 239 kilograms. DCT would add approximately 10 more kilos to either bike. The larger tank might be intended to give the Africa Twin more range, or it might purely be to counter the increased fuel consumption from the larger motor. The current Africa Twin has an LCD display which is starting to look a little out of date when you consider that many new motorcycles feature full-colour TFTs. The leaked specs hint that this might be the case for the new 2020 models, and it would open the door for the likes of Bluetooth connectivity and turn-by-turn navigation. Motorcycle News also hope for the Apple CarPlay integration from the current Goldwing to be carried over, and keyless ignition is also expected for the Africa Twin. As for aesthetics, Japanese website MOTOBOB mocked up how they think the 2020 Africa Twin will look. Although this is pure speculation, the fundamental structure of the bike isn't expected to change much, so there might be some truth in the fact that only bodywork and headlights are going to change in shape. Some sources state that the taller screen of the current Adventure Sport will be carried over to both models, which will change the look of the base bike somewhat. It's also been claimed that the spec sheet shows screen heights ranging from 61.4 inches to 63.8 inches, so an adjustable screen might be on the cards. Handlebars are also expected to increase in width from 36.6 inches to 37.8, which will offer a little more leverage to the rider. There's also been rumours of an 850cc model alongside the new 1100. Drive Mag riders speculate that the bike will be pretty much the same design and engine configuration but with a reduced capacity, and expects that this model will see the light of day a year later in 2021. This bike would enable Honda to use the platform to compete directly with the likes of the BMW F850 GS and the Yamaha Tenere. It's extremely early in the year for specs to be finalised, given that many new motorcycles are released at EICMA in November, so Cycle World suggests that we could see a launch event from Honda much sooner. But other sources claim that Honda favour EICMA for bike launches so much so that it's almost a certainty that we'll see the 1100 Africa Twin there for the first time. Let me know what you think of the rumoured specs for the new Africa Twin in the comments below. Do you think it's just a Euro 5 response, or a Honda trying to distance the Africa Twin from rival parallel twins? And if so, is an extra 6 horsepower really enough to distinguish it from lighter machines? I'd love to know what you think, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll see you next time.